I'm aware, and I know, and it's obvious, that there is a huge scheme that has been orchestrated to demean and to destroy my office and to ensure that I do not get anywhere. That I know, and it is rather obvious. Those executing this scheme, this elaborate scheme to undermine and destroy my office and ostensibly to stop me using all these schemes, I want to tell them they may have the system, they may have whatever they have, but I want to tell them we have God.
Well, there seems to be a scheme to undermine the DP's office. And let's pick it up from that. William Kamket, thank you for staying with us. I'm just borrowing from what the DP said over the weekend. And I mean, this is not the first time. Back in the Grand Coalition government, we had Raila Odinga's allies actually highlighting that he has been locked out of the powerful moves, you know, that came with his office. When we have the DP mentioning this, what do you make out of it? Because we have talk of a system that Kenyans might not really know who these individuals are.
Very well. First of all, what is quite unfortunate that the DP chose the occasion of the burial of someone who was working in his office. An investigation is active. In my view, it was quite insensitive and unfair to the family for the DP to go and say those things at that function, at that burial. But let me say this. Politics is about scheming. And there is no better schemer than the DP himself. For him to arrive where he has arrived as the deputy president, he was scheming against other people. He was schemed against Raila. He schemed against Moi when Moi was about to retire. But after Moi had just retired, he schemed against his wishes and took over Rift Valley by force. He has schemed against Kalonzo. He has schemed against all other manner of politicians. During the merger of the political parties to form Jubilee, there are so many unhappy politicians who were shortchanged during the formation of Jubilee. And he made sure that what we are talking about, the deputy president made sure that what the party we are talking about today as Jubilee, and especially in as far as Central Province is concerned, he got rid of all strong people who were originally of TNA, and made sure that those who were allied to him in URP got elected as members of parliament. Those are the members of parliament running around with him now. So therefore, politics is about scheming. There is no denying that. And that will be, it will continue forever, because that is politics. Now, there is a Swahili saying, mkuki tamu kwa nguruwe, chungu kwa binadamu. Okay? So it is, if he is feeling the heat now, that there are people scheming against him, come on, my friend. That is exactly what you did in order for you to get where you are. Now, on the matter of, a reckless matter of talking about the system and what, very well, if I was the DP, I would be brave enough and say, the president does not want me to work with him anymore, and I'm not part and parcel of this government, I would quit. That is the most reasonable, the most reasonable thing to do in the circumstance. If you feel that the president has lost confidence in you, or if you feel that you have lost confidence of the president that you got elected with, that is the most, that would be the fair thing to do. But because my friend, the deputy president, is a megalomaniac, he will not consider quitting. So let me conclude by saying that scheming, yes, that one, there is no denying. Those of us who think that he's even occupying our political space, we must scheme against him. There is no question about that. As Kamket, I will not stop scheming in order to push him out. That's my job as a politician. But now coming to talk about issues of death is completely reckless in my view. And trying to hoodwink Kenyans, that there are people who want, who is the government if not him? He sits is the second in command. So talking about matters of death and people want to kill him,
all right,
is playing the sympathy card, and it is quite dangerous. That's why I said earlier, he should have been summoned by the National Commission and Integration Commission to come and record a statement as soon as he uttered those reckless words.
Okay.
But politicians, yes, we must scheme. And we must scheme, he must feel, and he must enjoy the way, in as much as the others he schemed against enjoyed.
Okay, so it's clear, scheming and politics go hand in hand. But Mheshimiwa Kusitani, when we have the Senate Majority Leader claiming that the DP has been stripped of all state responsibilities, that during his first term he would chair meetings dealing with electricity, roads, youth and education, and now he's almost indirectly being told to sit at home, yet he was elected, as you said, on a joint party ticket with President Uhuru Kenyatta. What does this speak to you, and how should Kenyans interpret this?
Well, it is very good that Honorable Kamket has admitted that the DP was not lying and was not speaking out of tune about schemers, the existence of a scheme. You have heard from none other than a KANU member that they are scheming because they feel the DP is occupying their political space. And the DP very clearly stated there that he has no problem with the schemers, but just that they should not go for the lives or go for other innocent people. If they want, they should face him directly, which they don't do because they're just beating around the bush. On the issue of the DP being stripped of the powers, first of all, the DP has never been given a specific portfolio to occupy. And we know that in the beginning of the Jubilee, or rather in the beginning of 2013, when we were in URP and TNA, that's when we came together to form the government, the DP had specific tasks, and he was always a busy man with chairing sub-cabinet meetings, especially on the issues to do with roads and rural electrification, and even the council of you call it what, the governors forum, where they discuss the disbursement of money to the county governments. And I think that is the only one that he still chairs. But the rest have been taken off him, which I think also is okay because it gives the DP more time to go and meet Wananchi. So it's not that we are complaining about the DP being stripped of those responsibilities, but we are just notifying Kenyans because there's something, Jesse, that we need to know. We live in a world of records. And even the DP, for him to have spoken the way he spoke at the funeral of Kenei, it was not out of turn, but he was just setting the record so that it is there on record that somebody once said this. That's where we will refer to it. Should anything happen or should anything go wrong, then we will say at least he spoke over this. You remember that during these ODM rallies, we have had one irritant called Atwoli, who has always been saying that the DP will not be there in 2022. What does he mean by that? And he has said it repeatedly. It's only that today I saw him trying to correct it and said, I said he would not be in the ballot. But we understand Atwoli where he comes from, where we were once told by Mukisa Kutiwi that whenever Atwoli speaks, he confirms some fears that there's nothing in between his ears. But let me say this, that the issue about Kenei's death, and we feel and we really sympathize with the family, is a very painful matter to anybody, not to us only who knew Kenei, but anybody, any Kenyan, any rightful thinking person wants justice done. But when the DCI comes and tells us the phone records have been deleted, that is a big lie to Kenyans. It's a flat lie, because it is not possible to have phone records deleted. And if those phone records have been deleted, then we need to get to the bottom of the matter. We also want the phone records of the DCI himself. We want to know where he was at the time when all these things were happening and who he has been talking to, so that we may have a clear track of who was where at what time.
William Kamket, in right of reply, I'll definitely give you a chance to reply what he said. But when we have the DP concentrating on early campaigns, as it has been said, on the other side, we have the president trying to cement his legacy. I mean, this is a democratic space. We don't really all need to read from the same script. Is he really scheming against his boss? Just using your words.
Yes. First of all, you know what Caleb said earlier is quite true. What I've said is that political scheming is normal, but using the funeral of somebody who used to work in his office and somebody who has been murdered, and there is active investigation, going to say that he's the one who that gentleman or that officer was killed because of him, and therefore he's also going to be killed. I mean, in my view, that was completely reckless, and it should have been investigated by now. And I think the Deputy President, I do not know why he is desperate to go a step higher than where he is now. I do not know why he is acting desperate. Because in whatever he wants to achieve, he can achieve as a deputy president. So why can't he be talking about how to implement the Jubilee agenda, the government agenda? Why is he concentrating on a future agenda, which only we leave it to God? We have 2.5 years to go. His mind has stopped working. He's just talking about the election of 2022. Come on. We have work to do between now and 2022. Why is he putting us in 2022? But anyway, since he has chosen that path, and his team, they must be prepared for the consequences. Because when you scheme against your boss, when you show total defiance, you know, well, there will be consequences. And the consequences will be very clear very soon, because I mean, what choices do we have as leaders? If you have a cabal of leaders who want to put the country in an election mood so early, we have a lot of work to do to Kenyans, and they just want to campaign every day, every week. They want to campaign about an election that is 2.5 years away. So what we'll have to do, I mean, I believe the president will have to think, and those of us who want to see work done, we'll have to think about ways of getting these people to go ahead and do their campaigns as other Kenyans do real, actual work. So somebody talking about impeachment, well, that's another route. But there are many ways of freeing these impatient politicians. Let them get free. Let them go and campaign for the last 2.5 years as other Kenyans work.
All right. So you've talked about consequences, and I'd like to engage Caleb Kositani briefly on this. We've just heard Kimani Ichung'wah say, in case of an impeachment motion, let it come, baby, come. But the DP is not stepping down from the office he was actually elected to. What say you about these talks of impeachment that have surfaced in recent past? Is this likely possible? Will this be the end of UhuRuto?
Well, that they are planning to bring up an impeachment motion, that is absolutely true. As and when they will bring it, I don't know, because Orengo has been speaking about it, and it's time he acted and brought the impeachment motion. But all of it is an exercise in futility. Remember, Jesse and fellow Kenyans, is that William Ruto was elected as a package with His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta. When you talk of impeaching the president, if you decide to say you're impeaching the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, that means you're impeaching also William Ruto, and vice versa. There is no way you're going to separate the two. But also, you require a 2/3 majority for the impeachment motion, and it has to be, originate from the National Assembly. It cannot originate from the Senate, as James Orengo is making other people believe. We are ready. We are waiting. of course, I'm sure they just want to create a debate whereby they'll just talk and they know that they're headed nowhere. But I'd like to tell these people who are with Kamket and others scheming against the deputy president, do not be afraid of William Ruto. We cannot be discussing William Ruto on every TV show, every radio talk show. All the newspapers have headlines of one person. Let them get to work. Let them prove themselves to Kenyans. And then we'll meet at the ballot. And William Ruto, for your information, let me just say this, has not started campaigning. The day he decides to start campaigning, I don't know what these guys are going to do. But he has not started campaigning. He's still deputizing the president, and the time for campaign will come.
All right, time for campaign will come. William Kamket, our brief comments as we conclude the show.
Let me just say this. The political consequences of the early campaigns are coming, and they're loading thick and fast. So Caleb and his team must be prepared for those political consequences. And let them not fool anyone here that they are not campaigning. We are not, you know, I may have been born at night, but not last night.
Okay.
So what we want to tell them is that we will be advising the president to find a way of wriggling himself out of this very bad situation that his deputy is pulling him into.
All right.
So that we find a way of getting back to work. We must bring Kenyans back to thinking about how to deliver services and not talking about an election that is 2.5 years away. Finally, on the matter of impeachment, if it came to that, there is, if the deputy president is going to be impeached for criminal liability of a crime committed in this office, there is no way criminal liability can be conjoined with the president.
All right.
Criminal liability is singular.
Okay.
And if he has committed a crime, he will be impeached on his own for his crimes.
Okay. Thank you so much, William Kamket Tiati, Member of Parliament, for your contribution, as well as Caleb Kositani, who is a Member of Parliament for Soiwa Shimiwa. Thank you so much for your contribution on the big story, as well as Kimani Ichung'wah, the Member of Parliament for Kikuyu, who earlier on talked to our lead reporter, Sophia Wanuna. So the die is cast. We await for the consequences, as they've said. So good evening. That marks the end of Big Story tonight. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.